Hour 2. It's great to be here. Thanks, Daryl Morey, 76ers president. I think they're going to beat Miami, then beat the Knicks. We'll get to that in a second. Nick right around the corner. J-Mac, a very rambunctious first hour. I don't consider them hot takes, lukewarm, but the laser vision to be able to see through things, I think they're going to land well. Oh, by the way, did you hear now the betting markets have Jaden Daniels going number 2 to Caleb? Who was on that a week ago?
I mean, weren't the betting markets way wrong all last draft? I mean, a lot of people cleaned up if you faded the betting market. So there's some gamesmanship happening. This Jaden Daniels stuff. Who was it that came on? Was it Mangini? Who was like, Jaden Daniel, are you out of your mind? Somebody came on here recently and was like, no. Might have been your boy Merrill Hodge, who I greatly disagree with.
Yes, you do. All right, so last year on this day, I made 5 bold NBA predictions. 4 ended up being right. I said the Sixers won't get past the second round. I said health, not the opponent, will dictate the Lakers' success, and AD and LeBron were healthy in the playoffs. They got to the conference finals. I said the Suns are going to roll the Clippers. The Warriors will win a physical series with the Kings. By the way, y'all love Sacramento. And then I said you'd complain about the officiating. Old teams will flourish. I was wrong, although I did say Miami was going to surprise people, but I was wrong on that. So I'm going to make 5 bold, reasonably bold predictions. I mean, I'm not having Denver out in the first round, so, don't hold your breath. My first one is the Thunder, the number 1 seed, are going to win 1 series max. Then they're out. Youngest number 1 seed ever. Very dependent on SGA, who's a wonderful player, but he's the only guy averaging over 20. And playoff defense tightens up, and you make the star really have to earn his points. They would also face the Clippers or the Mavs, more veteran players in round 2. They are not your typical number 1 seed. I love the decade going forward, but this number 1 seed will get extinguished very quickly. The second one is the Suns, the Phoenix Suns will course correct, and they'll beat the T-Wolves. I've gone back and forth on this. First of all, Grayson Allen actually became a really good piece for them. Bradley Beal, finally healthy, has been absolutely on fire. And you know what? They say styles make fights. In the NBA playoffs, like Indiana's a bad matchup for Milwaukee, Phoenix is a bad matchup for Minnesota. So you've got guys with playoff experience. You've got Bradley Beal, healthy and on fire. I think the T-Wolves get bounced first series. The Clippers will unravel in spectacular fashion, and Mount Balmer will erupt. Westbrook, should you start him now for defense? Harden's last couple of playoff series haven't been great. Kawhi might not play. There's resentment there. I love Ty Lue as a coach, but I think Paul George is just about over it. You just don't know what you get. 8 straight missed games by Kawhi with a knee injury. I've got more questions than I do answers. They'll unravel. The Mavs will beat them. The Lakers will get through the play-in, and the Warriors won't. First of all, Sacramento, I'll take them tonight. But then they'd have to beat the Lakers, who they hammered when AD was out. They won't. Or the Pelicans, and I don't think it's a great matchup. Listen, the Lakers match up very well with New Orleans. They hammered them every time they play this year, almost every time. You saw the first half the other night. They have length, they have size. LeBron just dominates any game against Zion. I think he's 7-1 against Zion. Lakers are a great matchup against the Pels, and I think if they had to face Golden State after getting hammered at home without AD, no way the Warriors shoot like that. So I think the Lakers get through the play-in, the Warriors don't. And finally, I know we love the Knicks, but they are so dependent on Jalen Brunson. You can win with 1 star in energy in the regular season, especially at the end of the regular season where half the teams feel like they're tanking. You're not beating Philadelphia or Miami with 1 guy. So I think the Knicks right now are a better story than they are a team. I love Brunson and the direction they're going. I think Philadelphia would beat them in about 6, Miami 5 or 6. So there's my bold predictions, and Nick right now joins us live. First things first. All right, pick them apart. Is there any one of those that you just think is egregiously wrong?
Well, I don't know if we can throw all 5 back on the screen, but I got to tell you something, Colin Cowherd. This might be a 5 for 5. I love 4 of them. And so Thunder win one series max is less an indictment on them and more the fact that in round 2 they're going to be playing Dallas because Dallas is going to beat the Clippers, as you are saying in point 3. And I think Dallas is going to the conference finals at a minimum. So 1 and 3 were in total lockstep. The Lakers are going to win tonight, and then we can talk more about a Lakers-Nuggets series, which I think is more intriguing than people give it credit for. And this is not an indictment on the Knicks, but it is really a testament to what Thibodeau has done and what Jalen Brunson has done. But because of the injuries and because they play so hard all year, they don't really have an extra gear for the postseason. And so I totally agree with 1, 3, 4, and 5. Number 2, I could see happening, and I think that the Timberwolves trying to work back in Karl-Anthony Towns, we have to see how that goes. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick that one, but 1, 3, 4, and 5 I love, and the Suns beating the Timberwolves, certainly plausible. I'm not sure if it's my pick, but I think those are actually really good, bold predictions.
Okay, I'm going to throw this at you. I said if you have an MVP vote, SGA, Luka, or Jokic, that you can make an argument on Luka because of this. First of all of them statistically are great. But Luka has been able to overcome, like LeBron did briefly, Kyrie's drama. And it's not a small thing. He unraveled the Celtics. Brooklyn was a mess. Considered difficult or a bust in Cleveland. LeBron solved that Rubik's Cube for a couple years, and then it went sideways. And Kyrie goes to Luka. It was a little noisy year 1. Actually, I think I'd give it to Luka because I think valuable means what did I overcome? I think that's a real thing, and if Luka gets it, I have no problem. Your thoughts?
Well, I agree with a ton of that. Listen, J-Mac's been calling Luka the best player in the world for at least a few months now. And as much as I love Luka, I don't think that's a title he can hold until he at least shows up in a finals. But I agree with you, and I think I agree with J-Mac. He's the MVP this year. And it is what you said. Now, Kyrie deserves credit himself for not creating drama, for playing as outstanding as he did, by his standards having a relatively healthy season. And Kyrie had a great year. But what your point, which is Kyrie has never been a part of winning basketball except for the 3 years alongside LeBron James, and now he is again. So Luka does get credit for that. He also just had a bananas season. In all of NBA, since the merger in the NBA, the only people to ever, in a full season, average more points per game than Luka did this year are Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and James Harden. That's the list. You add to it that he had 9 rebounds and 9 assists, so he created, 50-plus combined points, rebounds, and assists per game. The team was the hottest team in the league the last 2 months of the year, 15-2 in their last 17 games. They then rested games 81 and 82. The team defense got better, and after Kyrie, you don't have a single top 100 player in the league on that roster. They still won 50 games. My ballot would be Luka, barely edging out Jokic, and then a clear number 3 in SGA, who I think had a phenomenal season, but not as good as Luka or Jokic. And listen, some people can take issue with this, but when it's as close as Luka and Jokic are, I do give the tie to the guy who hasn't won one yet.
Yeah.
And if Jokic hadn't won one yet, you'd say, okay, it's definitely his time. It's kind of how I felt last year with Embiid. This is why guys like LeBron and Kareem and Jordan, instead of having 10 or 12 MVPs, they have 6, 5, and 4, because when there's another great player who's having a great season and hasn't won one yet, they typically give it to him. I think Luka, the team won enough games. I think he deserves it.
I went and watched the Lakers-Warriors about 10 days ago because I thought it was the last chance maybe to see Steph and Clay. And my take after watching the games was Steve Kerr is running a lot of the offense through Klay Thompson, sending a message to Joe Lacob, please outbid Orlando. We have no size. We need shooters, and Clay had a really good April. Do you think it's Stephen Clay's? I mean, if they lose to Sacramento, I tend to think they'll win tonight, but they won't beat the Pels or the Lakers. Do you think they'll blow that thing up?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that, listen, I think tonight's a 2.5-point spread, so obviously either team could win. I think Sacramento is going to win tonight, even though that Sacramento, since the Malik Monk injury in particular, has not looked great. In that building, this would be the biggest win for the Kings in 20 years because, to your point, I mean, this is a Bay Area, not rivalry, because the Warriors have been so much better. But, you know, that the fans, Kings fans don't love Warriors fans, and Warriors fans don't care about Kings fans. So I think this will be a big home court advantage. But to your point, Colin, and I don't think this has gotten enough attention, I think we are less than 12 hours away from the final game Steph, Clay, and Draymond play together. I think that Clay is not on the team next year. When Clay said on Draymond's podcast that, you know, of course he wants to stay a Warrior, but he has to prioritize things such as his mental health, that made me feel like, oh, this has not been fun for him. He is not happy. When you see Steph dealing with the drama he dealt with on the court in the game Draymond got kicked out of, it just feels like this is the last stand. And so, yeah, for what I think this Warriors team is the fourth greatest NBA dynasty ever. Russell's Celtics, Jordan's Bulls, Kareem and Magic's Lakers, and then this Warriors run. I would have that ahead of the Shaq Kobe Lakers. And I think the last game they play together as a threesome is tonight.
Yeah. So I want to throw up this new Olympic team going to Paris. There's like one more spot. And I said I tend to like new things over old things. But when you put in the dream team against this team, if